Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that someone has created an exact genetic copy of you. They have your DNA, your face, and perhaps your biological characteristics, but they are not you. They have your own experiences, memories, and personality. That is the idea behind this week's episode, The Sixth Day, 2000 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. When the movie was released, human cloning seemed like something far into the future. Today, more than 2 decades later, some of the science that inspired the film has become reality, but in ways that are more impressive and more complicated than Hollywood imagined. One of the most important breakthroughs came just a few years before The Sixth Day. In 1996, scientists in Scotland created Dolly the sheep, the first mammal successfully cloned from an adult body cell. Dolly demonstrated something remarkable. A mature cell could be reprogrammed to produce an entire new organism. Her creation showed that genetic information inside an adult cell still contained the instructions necessary to create a complete animal. By the time The Sixth Day appeared in theaters, cloning was already a serious scientific topic. Since then, researchers have pushed technology further. Scientists have cloned several species of mammals, including cattle, horses, dogs, cats, and primates. But there is an important distinction between the science and the movie. In The Sixth Day, cloning can produce a genetically identical human being, and technology can be used to implant memories and personalities into a clone. Real cloning does not work that way. A clone would share the same DNA as the person from whom it was created, but that would not make the clone the same person. Think about identical twins. They have nearly identical DNA, yet they are separate individuals with different personalities, memories, experiences, and choices. In other words, cloning can copy a genome, but it cannot simply copy a life. And that idea has become more interesting because scientists have discovered ways to manipulate cells without creating a cloned person. Another breakthrough came with CRISPR gene editing technology. CRISPR allows scientists to make targeted changes to DNA, almost like editing individual letters in an enormous biological instruction manual. The technology has transformed genetic research and has already moved into medicine. In 2023, regulators in the UK and the US approved the first CRISPR-based treatments for sickle cell disease. These treatments don't clone a person. Instead, they modify a patient's own blood-forming stem cells to help the body produce healthier red blood cells. This is where The Sixth Day becomes especially relevant. The movie imagined a future where biotechnology could become powerful enough to challenge our understanding of identity and individuality. In reality, science has not produced the human clones shown in the film, but biotechnology has become powerful enough to alter cells, edit genes, and reprogram biological functions. And that creates a new ethical question. The most important issue may no longer be whether humans can copy themselves. It may be what humans should be allowed to change. If scientists can edit genes to treat disease, that could save lives. But what happens when the same technology is used to enhance traits rather than cure illness? Should parents be able to choose genetic characteristics for their children? Who gets to accept these technologies? And what happens if biotechnology becomes available primarily to wealthy people? These questions make The Sixth Day surprisingly relevant more than 26 years after its release. The movie's technology was fictional, but its deeper warning was not. Scientific progress does not automatically tell us how progress should be used. Perhaps the most important lesson from cloning is that biology is not the same thing as identity. A person's DNA can tell us an enormous amount about them, but it cannot tell their entire story. A clone could have your genes, but not your childhood. It could have your face, but not your memories. It could share your biology, but still become a completely different person. And that is why the science behind the sixth day is more fascinating today than when the movie came out. We haven't reached the world of human cloning portrayed in the film, and that's good. Instead, we have arrived at something arguably more complicated, a world where scientists can increasingly rewrite, reprogram, and manipulate the building blocks of life. The question isn't simply, can we do it? Increasingly, science is teaching us what we might be able to do. The harder question is, should we? So go ahead and zap that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. We are enjoying Action August here on the Real Relationships podcast, and we invite you to join in the fun. The easiest way to do that is to subscribe to the Real Relationships podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes drop every Thursday, and also follow us on all the socials. We are on YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We appreciate our audience, and hey, we want you to stay safe, not get cloned, so that we can see you soon.